Well, this is an exciting morning. We're on the brand new Axopar 37. This model, long awaited for us down here in Australia. We're going to go for a bit of a drive. It's a windy day. Got a little bit of chop on the water, not too much. We'll get the drone up in the air. We'll talk to you about it on the way. Hope you enjoy. So the 37, it's a brand new model for Axopar. This is not a rehashed version of the original 37. It's a completely new hull. With so many of the original 37 sold, Axopar decided to take it to the next level. It's the hull, the deck are totally redesigned, and what we found, they've put most of their attention into completely redesigning the underwater profile to improve the aeration of the hull. And already, this is my first drive in Sydney, I can notice a difference. This boat at 22 knots, the aeration kicks in, and from 22 to 40 knots, the revs were hardly changing. For example, I'm at 4,000 revs right now, sitting on 28 knots comfortably, very comfortably. I'll notch it up a few revs. We're in the ocean, I might add. I'm already sitting on 35 knots. I haven't even trimmed the motors or the trim tabs. This is hands-free, awesome, kick-ass boating. Next thing worth noting, we are in offshore conditions. I still haven't got a drop of water over the bow. Compared to the original model, these things were just not possible. So I'm really excited to see how this boat performs for the remainder of our trip. We're going to get the drone up in the air. We'll come back to you when we get to Sydney and I'll give you a full rundown. Wow. So words can't describe how much fun that was. I've driven a lot of Axopars. That was quite easily the most awesome experience I've ever had coming down the coast. We had a westerly, sort of norwesterly going southwesterly, 20 knots initially, probably gusting to 25, 30 on the way down. Decent amount of swell coming from the southeast, so we're punching into it. We sat at 4,000 revs on 30 knots pretty much the whole way. New engines, I was varying the revs, so at times punched a bit of 40 knots and at times went down to 25. Dry, smooth, comfortable, fun. I love this new helm position. I feel like I've more locked in here. You're not in between two people like the previous 37, so for some reason I feel like I've got more control. I could quite easily access the decks should I need to, and I've got plenty to hold on to all the way around. So that was amazing. That was just amazing. Let's find somewhere to park, and I'm going to take you for a bit of a walkthrough on this boat because nothing is the same. You know, she might look similar from a distance, but there's really very few similarities. They have totally refined this boat. It's really a standout performer. So on the Series 1 Axopars, you might remember there was just a sun lounge up the front here with an opening hatch facing forward. Now you can still have a sun lounge on these new 37s. What you have is a storage box which just goes in this area, and on top of that there is sun lounging. But what we've now got, which was something that has been requested many times in the past, is this social picnic area. You've got a small lunch table, which sits on a single leg for your miniature coffees. And it's good for 4 or 5 people, comfortable, and another hangout zone. They've gone really far into the fine details up here on the bow and throughout the boat compared to the earlier models. So I can now open up this hatch with ease, and I've got everything that I need from an anchoring and mooring perspective where I need it. So shore power cable is just here. I can run that over the bow or down to the back of the boat and plug her in. I have a fender and rope locker here, of which there are many more. There's an anchor operation here, which can also be done at the helm. The water intake for the water tank is here, and our windlass is now permanently mounted up on the bow with a fixed bow roller. So the original bow roller was a sexy looking, but you know, the Axopar philosophy is adventure boats, keep it easy, go out, have fun, and then get on and do something else. And just adding extra work, having to fold your anchor out, is not really what we're about. So they went away from that, gone for a fixed bow roller, much more practical. Grab handles all the way around the boat, as you'd expect. These 2 holes here are for big fixed poles, which will cover the whole area in shade. Coming back, the windscreen, it's a little bit sleeker compared to the earlier model. We now see the supports for the T-top have been integrated somewhat with this windscreen in terms of a visual styling effect. Instead of having the old supports that were here, this is now all open. So this area is actually, whilst we're still utilizing the same space, it's much more attractive, and it's probably a little bit more social because all these seats can spin around, this table can open up, and you got seating for 7, potentially up to 10 people if you throw a couple of director's chairs in. But I really like this. When I saw it on the drawings, I thought, oh, is that going to affect my visibility? And I tell you what, coming down the coast, it absolutely doesn't, because they've designed it in such a way that it follows the existing lines of the windscreen. And so no effect on visibility, and it's actually an advantage. It's a really good handhold. And what they've also done is add these extra grab handles here and here, and the roof design, which is a totally new roof design, has got a ledge going all the way around it. It's actually a drain, because in the earlier models you'd jump on board and because you'd lean the boat, if it'd been raining the night before, the water would drip all over you. Now they've gone away from that. The drain's going to catch everything. It's going to send it out through the drain holes, but it works really well as another place to hold on to. So the dash, this is awesome. Axopar's philosophy, they're really gotten into bed with Simrad for a lot of very sensible reasons, but the direction they are going is clean dashes. So they're trying to minimize clutter, and that's a theme throughout the boat with all the little storage nooks all over the place. But we've now got this twin Simrad display behind the glass, which just looks fantastic, very usable, super easy to see. We had sun, we had water, everything coming down the coast today, and it was very easy to use. Your traditional buttons that we're all used to are still here, so your anchor operation, your lights, window wash, windscreen wipers, etc. are all there. We've got the stereo, the Fusion stereo, that's got Bluetooth. We've got speakers all the way around. One improvement is they've put the subwoofer right under your bum here, whereas it used to be out the back of the boat, and it worked and it was great, but now it's essentially in a box under your bum. You can feel the bass, so it's just a lot more enjoyable. Possibly the most visible change when you look at the dash compared to the early model is the helm has now moved across to starboard. Now, the original helm center mounted was great. It was very social, good visibility, and you felt like you were part of the action. But I gotta say, this is a step up, because most people who use these boats use them by themselves. And when I say that, all their mates are with them, but often their mates are pretty useless with the ropes. So it's a boat that you want to go out, have fun, entertain, but manage yourself. And having the helm offset to starboard means you can get straight to your lines, get off the boat because it's not a very high side in the first place, and just get up to the bow when you need to operate the anchor or pick up a mooring. So much, much easier. Even topping up the fuel this morning, you know, I've got the fuel filler right there. So I just slid the boat in with the bow thruster and the engines, flick a rope over, and away we go. Everything's just a little bit more straightforward. Next thing, it's not worth showing you, but I'll just tell you, they've also moved all the main battery switches into a more convenient and sensible spot. So I've now got all the main battery switches just underneath this seat here. So instead of having to remove the seat cover on the back seat, get in under there and flick all the switches on like you used to, you just jump behind the wheel, batteries on, keys in, engines down, off you go. The seating arrangement is what we're used to. We still have the 4 seats. We are utilizing the same dimensions as the original Axopar. They're just making a better use of the space. So the length and beam hasn't changed, the design has everywhere. What we've got now is a center handle here, because on this particular model, this is all storage. So I've got covers, I've got table leg, I've got the spare picnic table neatly stored in here, extra space, but you don't need to use this spot. So if your guests, as they do, come on with the bags, or with bags I should say, there you go, there's our camera gear, and same again on this side. Now that's not going to get in the way of the fridge, because they've now moved the fridges from where they were on this location, meaning they were only accessible with ease for the people on the back seat. They've moved them to the side. People on the front seats, people on the back seats can grab a beer, essential. This table still drops down and can turn into a day bed. We still have these little storage nooks behind each seat. Good place for your phone and your wallet. The lights have all improved. So instead of being a chrome look, which they were before, which looked fantastic, but did suffer from salt degradation, we now have these glass, it looks like glass to me, ones which are not going to corrode. So big improvement. Coming to the back of the boat. Now, like all Axopars, this is where the options continue. So you don't have to have this barbecue area like we do on this one. You can actually have all open back deck. You can have a low sun lounge, and underneath it is water toy storage. So those large foam floaty mats could literally just unroll and pull straight out, and you can have those electric little water jet ski thingamajiggies, dive gear, whatever you like. And it's just on a huge big opening hatch. You can have the traditional sun lounge, which is raised up at about this height, and underneath it there is quite a large double bed. So you can access that through some other hatches back here. Alternatively, the main access would be through those middle seats, which would hinge for that. We still have the fender and rope lockers. So we have one fender and rope locker up the front. We have another one down the back here, and a third one on the port side, which can double as an esky. But you shouldn't need an esky, because this one's got the mini bar. We've got a gas barbie. Nice deep fridge, which it's that deep. So we've got our 2 drinks fridges. We've got this chest fridge, and we've got this cold water sink here. On top of that, storage. Essentially that's for food. We've got some covers in here, but that's all your lunch storage. And under the floor here, for the active types, we have storage for your safety gear. We've got the poles and the sunshades, which go fore and aft. And this is the perfect place to put wakeboards, inflatable biscuits, and all your other water toys that you don't really need to be mixing up with all your other gear. But it doesn't end there. On the original model, for all the tall guys and girls, they used to hit their head on this area. It's been completely redesigned. It's much higher and further forward. So you can walk through here, you can be tall as, and you're not gonna get interfered, or you're not gonna knock your head on this. So much better design. We were already custom making these in Australia because of all the surfers and activity people who buy these boats off us, but Axopar have caught on, and we've now got roof racks. So you'll get a couple of big stand-up paddle boards on this. You've got these little tie points just here for a strap. We've already got customers fitting their Epic and Fen skis and going offshore and paddling. So this is just really what it's all about. Load your toys up here, put your safety gear and your other stuff down there, food and drinks, bags, all your mates, get out there and have fun. Come on downstairs and we'll have a look. Well, isn't this lovely? Need to get out of the sun, just want to get away from the party. We've got noisy kids and just got to stick them somewhere. This is perfect. So what we've got down here, again, utilizing the same dimensions as the previous 37, but just being smarter about the utilization of space. They've pushed the bed forward. We still have what is a very usable and sleepable bed, I suppose, because that flips up to get out of the way. So this isn't bad. The drink holder and step just folds out of the way. There's enough space for a couple here for a night. Plenty of ventilation. The light down here is great. This is an all year round cabin. I could come down here on a miserable rainy day and still feel like I'm part of the action with 3 windows, opening hatches here, which do give you a bit of protection were it, light rain, for example. But I just think the design is a real step up from what we had before, because all of a sudden this area is an option. Throw the kids down here, give them some things to play with. They're still accessible to the rest of the boat, plenty of airflow, and it doesn't feel like a cave where perhaps it did on the earlier model. Big improvement. We've now got a proper private toilet, and then you can walk through a door and enter this cabin. Alternatively, you can lock that toilet off and access the cabin through these gull wing doors. Yeah, access is great. Makes sense. That is one cool design feature.